Good evening, good evening. Welcome back. This is Rihanna from Plan Wholesome Empowerment Group, and today is Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday, Wellbeing Wednesday. We're back with another live for Mental Health Awareness Week. Okay, so you must have seen the post, so you know who is going to be joining us. We've got the wonderful, the beautiful Marisa May from Beautiful Trauma. Yes, so I'm gonna wait for her to come on, but I'm just gonna kind of give a quick update about her. So we met at one of her events, 2019, I think it was, and yeah. Do you know what? I'm not gonna delve too much into it. I'm gonna let Marissa explain exactly who she is. But yeah, she's a wonderful inspiration, and she's actually here. Uh, yes, I'm gonna add her now. So hopefully she should be joining us any second.
Hi.
Oh, hello. How are you doing?
Hi. Let me just turn that up.
Yeah, camera check, all
Yeah,
that good
all of
stuff.
that.
Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Good. I'm gonna put my phone on silent because we don't want no disturbances. There we go. Already got messages. But yes, how have you been today, lovely?
I'm good today. It's been like quite a chill day. Work. Sorry, my printer just decided to start making some noises because I kicked it at the
It
side.
happened. It happened.
Annoying. Oh no, but it's been a good day. Working. It was quite sad today actually. I was working with a young boy who's 9, and I've been working him for the past like 3 to 4 months, and it was my last
Mm,
session with him. And like at the end of the session, like at first he was a bit sharp with me, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And he was like,
mm.
"Yeah." And then I was like, "All right." And then towards the end, and I was like, "Okay, we're gonna have to thingy like wrap up so you can go back to your session." And he just literally started crying. He switched off his
Oh,
camera, and I was just like, and everything in me was like fighting to not say, like, "Okay, I'll see you next week as well," because I was actually supposed to close with him last week, but I was just like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." But
oh,
yeah, so I wouldn't say that was the highlight of my day, but it really kind of made me kind of smile in a way because it felt like I had some kind of impact on him. Whereas maybe a
yeah.
few weeks ago, I thought maybe I was just getting on his nerves, but clearly I wasn't. Yeah. So it was
That's
good.
beautiful. That's good. I love although, yeah, you've made a beautiful situation out of something that, some people could find a bit difficult. But yeah, well done to you, making good impact where you go. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Trying,
So
trying.
we've kind of started the conversation. So let's actually introduce you.
Okay, yeah, we skipped that bit.
Yes. So Marissa May from Beautiful Trauma. We met 2019. I was just telling the viewers, we met 2019 at your event in Streatham.
A year ago
And
yesterday. Oh, two
yes,
years ago yesterday. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
What year is it? Yes, so 2 years ago yesterday, I saw the post and it just kind of brought back memories actually. So maybe tell the viewers a bit about what you do, some of your events and things like that.
So, as they say, I'm Marissa May.
Yeah.
I started my C.I.C called Beautiful Trauma in 2018, October the 7th to be precise. And it was a year to the date that I lost my friend to suicide. And prior to that, um, I didn't really consider suicide as something that happened to, and this sounds so bad, like it wouldn't happen to anyone I know. It wouldn't happen like a friend of a friend or anything like that. So it was a bit like it was quite shocking.
Mm,
So I thought, okay, if I felt this way and then any of my friends I told like that had happened to my friend, they were kind of
mm,
like, huh? Like, no, like
mm,
that just happens on a TV. It's
yeah.
not something that happens in our everyday life. So I was like,
Mm,
okay, if everyone I know is not really familiar with this subject, how can I do something to kind of bring that situation to the forefront to say, okay, this is happening. Um, this is something that is like usually sort of like a byproduct of someone going through like someone having mental health issues. So I was like, okay, I've done like lupus walks, I've done the race for life, I think twice. And I felt like I can't just walk at this point because we're not talking about it. So I've been to quite a few like empowerment events, like usually like kind of girl bossy events. And I was like, how can I kind of merge the two? So you've like got the panels, you've got like vendors, you've got performances, because obviously it's quite a heavy topic. So like we put on events and we'll have, as I said, a panel. So we'll have a panel of people that have like lived experiences of mental health. They've come out the other side, or they're still going through therapy, they're still going through it now, but they're in a space where they can share their experience, but it's alongside professionals that can kind of hold that information as well. So they're not just like sharing the information and it's like, thank you, bye. It's kind of like there's someone active to hold those feelings, or they're able to be signposted to a specific place to seek the help, or someone in the audience, because the first event we had at Brixton Ritzy, and honestly, I thought no one's really going to want to talk about this. Like, it was really like I was blagging. I felt like I was blagging the whole thing. I was like, no one's coming. Yeah, my friend's going to buy a ticket. My mum's going to buy a ticket. So what's that?
No, I said I remember seeing that was the first one that I saw, and I was like, oh, this is actually something I really would like to go to. And then when I saw the Stratton one, I was like, yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, and that was shortly after the first one, because like the buzz was there, and like the messages afterwards, like it literally sold out. The owner of the Ritzy at the time, she let extra people in. Like we was pushing back the vendor like tables, squashing in chairs from the bar. And then I got so much messages of people like saying things like, I've got really bad anxiety. I came today. I felt so safe in that environment. I was able to get up and ask a question. People were coming to me, how can I help with the next event? All things. So it was so overwhelming. And I was like, oh my God, like people actually want to hear this conversation. So it's actually a good thing, because we all go through things, but it's a bit like sometimes we don't know we're going through things. Like even the lockdown was I'd say that was a big awakening for so many people. It's like, if anyone ever said they didn't have mental health, they didn't experience anything, that was a time where you questioned everything. Like the whole thing about being told to stay indoors. So even I had friends, I think I saw her on the live earlier, but I won't shout out her name. But like she had like a lot of anxiety at the beginning of the lockdown. And it was like some of the stuff on the Instagram page that we have was like good techniques for her. So when talking to her, I could like link back to posts on the page, like, and say, have you thought of doing this? Have you thought of doing that? So it's just that it's just having that conversation, being able to have that conversation. And that's what I'd say that space was about, is giving people that room to, even if they message, like I would never say like, oh my God, like I'm this like mental health professional. I'm not, but I will guide you to the right place if I can. I will bring the right people in the room to help people access the information that they need, or just food for thought sometimes.
And that's what I liked about the event as well, because even with yesterday's live was with a suicide prevention service, and then having you on as well kind of gave a continuation to the story, because with the events that you host, I think people sometimes don't understand the impact that mental health has on the surrounding factors and how those surrounding factors impact the individual. I think a lot of the time when there's information about suicide prevention or even just mental health in general, the focus is on what you'll leave behind, or the people that are around you, that how that it's going to affect them. But something that I liked about you, like you said, is very much focused on lived experience, and the professionals as well that can support and guide individuals through that process as well of sharing. So yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Yes, lovely. So tell me a bit about your work that you do as well.
So at the moment, I am a targeted support worker, or youth engagement worker. So I work with young people between the age of 8 and 17 for a local authority. So a lot of like I saw even a lot of young people during that time. Like I had mums calling me, like, my daughter's self-harming, can you talk to her? And it's literally like you get that phone call and it's like you have to think of everything you've learned at any kind of training you've gone to.
The toolbox.
Yeah. And then it's like you're almost like feeling like, okay, this conversation, and in a scary way, is kind of make or break, because what is that young person's like intentions? What are they setting out to do? Like, me talking to them could be them not doing it, or you know. So it's like you're a bit, okay, what am I gonna say? So even like those situations, like it really makes you feel or realize why you're doing this, because this is actually happening. So whereas maybe 2-3 years ago I was a bit like, oh, this doesn't happen, you know, it doesn't affect me, so it was like over my head. But now it's kind of like in my day-to-day work, and it's a lot. You have young people that are self-harming, wanting to do things, and you're like, the conversation you have with them could be the deal breaker. The kind of like the toolkit you pull out could be the deal breaker for them. So when I have those situations, like, I'm so thankful that I've done beautiful trauma, and I've got like some of the training that I've got. Some of it is just and I think it was said in the live yesterday, it is just talking to people, because sometimes that person in those thoughts just feels like they're alone, and it could be just a simple, you all right? Are you sure? Kind of, you know.
It's true. I think sometimes people underestimate the power of, I would say, a layperson. The reason why I say a layperson is because professionals can be so overwhelming and they lose that emotion behind it, like behind the interaction. So a layperson, just a general day-to-day person, you could see someone like on the street. I remember seeing someone crying on the street the other day, and I was just like, are you okay? She was like, no, I'm okay, I'm fine, but thank you for stopping. I don't know what impact that interaction could have had with her, but the same thing with what we're saying here, just that, are you okay? Is it, if you're not okay, is what can I do to help? And really, really impact someone positively and in a good way. So yeah, lovely.
And it kind of carries you through different walks of like employment as well. Because at one stage I used to work in like major trauma centers. So when young people were like shot, stabbed, or hurt to serious youth violence, and they were admitted to like 3 of the trauma centers in London, I used to work with them. And sometimes after those things happening to them, they didn't even realize they were going through the motions. They were like suffering from like mental health, like PTSD and stuff like that. And sometimes that label of like, oh, do you have mental health? It's like, no, I don't have that. They're kind of like, it's like back off. But then if they're talking to someone that they can kind of relate to as well, and they're able to say like, oh, maybe it's just someone for you to talk to. It's not, you don't have to put the mental health in the equation. Then you kind of speak to them about it, and then they're a bit more open. But I think where mental health has had such like a big taboo around it, where you don't talk about it, and I always say like in like I'd say my culture or my family, it's like mental health is just like, yeah, that's like that person, or you know, it's nothing. It's he's sick. He's like, it's not. It's very much downplayed, so we don't really see how severe mental health is or how far it can take people, if that makes sense. I
was talking about that on Monday as well. Just knowing the difference between and the scale from, you know, acute and small minor mental health issues that can lead to severe mental health illnesses, and knowing the difference between the two, like even down to being medicated, diagnosed, all that kind of stuff as well. So people really need to educate themselves on the difference and the spectrum, because you could be at any point of that spectrum at any point of your life. Things can change like that. And like you said, the stigma, oh, I wouldn't expect it to be me or anyone in my family. But I can honestly say I've had people with schizophrenia in my family. I myself, I've suffered with depression after I had my son. So there's a lot of things that you wouldn't expect. But at the same time, like you said, I was thankful that I'd learned the tools and the techniques and the sources of support, knowing how to develop my own self-care regime to make sure that when
So
it got to a
important.
point, listen,
So
self-care
important.
is like, I feel like I might need to get it tattooed to my chest.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I need to get it tattooed to my chest and say it with my chest every day. Self-care is my care. So yes, it's one of these things. You just gotta literally do it every day. It's a maintenance thing as well as a journey.
Hmm.
People forget that as well. There's not a destination, it's a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you got anything coming up for Beautiful Trauma?
I want for when we can have events again to be able to have
Mm,
events. I mean that's the I think that's the like all my friends know that's the passion for me. That's the bit of
mm,
Beautiful Trauma. That's the passion. Like I can do the page. This
mm.
is my first live, so
Yeah, I'm glad
yeah.
I got
So
you on the first
so
line.
all the time, like all through the pandemic, like a lot of people I've worked with be like, just do lives, and I'm just like, I'm I'd put too much pressure on myself to do it. So
Yeah.
the build up, when I get there, you'll see me doing my own lives. But until then, mm-mm. But
No, I get it. I get it.
I'm hoping to have events, and the aim is to get it like as in a curriculum in the school. So I'm going to trial it in youth clubs. So like just maybe like a 6-week program talking about mental health triggers and different things to look out for, because even, and I always kind of relate it to work that I've done as well. When I used
Mm,
to work in a prison, and I was like a resettlement coordinator, and we have to ask the people the people in the prison if they have any like mental health issues. And we found every time we pulled that question up, we just had to change it. We had
mm,
to change it so much, because the minute we said mental health, no,
mm,
no, not like, no, not like all
mm,
of that. It was just like, okay, but you're telling me everything that is telling me yes. You're
mm,
telling me that you're depressed or you're down, and you're like, obviously with circumstances, you can put it to the circumstance that they're in prison, but a lot of the time it's deeper than that. So
mm,
we'd always have those questions. So when I started working in the trauma center, I found a
mm,
way of asking that question, but
mm,
skipping mental health. Like, let's not mention mental health, because the minute I say that, that walls up. Because even I know when I was younger, the like a lot of young boys used to smoke weed, smoke skunk, stuff like that, and then they used to like hallucinate, and then they like often get sectioned. No one would see the middle part, so
yeah.
everyone assumes if I go to the doctors, they're gonna section me. Where
Yeah.
it's not. There's a big bit in between it, but that's the part that they see. But it's, I suppose it's that naiveness at that stage, because even I said in 2017, when my friend took his life, I said
Mm,
it had never happened, or to
mm,
someone I know, but it did
mm,
when I was about 16 or 17. But I
mm.
created a story that there's no way he done that, because I know him and I know he
Yeah.
didn't do that. They chased him and he tripped over the wall. But
Okay.
that wasn't the case. The
Yeah.
coroner said what the coroner said, but I
Yeah.
went with that happened. So it
Yeah.
was like, that kind of showed me like you threw it straight at the back. Like, they told you that
Mm,
happened. So I'm like, how, like 10 odd years later, I'm like, it's never happened to anyone I know.
mm,
It
mm.
has.
Yeah. It's how you've processed it, and
Yeah.
I guess even just down to your own trauma of trying to understand how it happened. Maybe I don't know if what could have been if you was in a different place. I know a lot of people that do have those types of thoughts, and it's like, what more could have been done? Wasn't your fault, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of these things where understanding how to have these conversations continuously
Mhm.
from a young age as well, and that's something I'm going to be touching on tomorrow, is mental health in children. But from a young age, normalizing these kind of
Mhm.
conversations is exactly what we need. And something that I noticed with your events is, like you said in the messages, everyone felt so relaxed. But even just me myself, I'm a person, I could be quite reserved, but I could be very social at the same
Mhm.
time. A bit weird, I'm introvert, extrovert.
Yeah.
But
Snap.
back then I felt so relaxed. I felt to go up on the stage and share my story.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. And even down to the poetry, I'll be honest, I cried. I actually did
Yeah.
cry. I don't cry in public.
Yeah.
I don't cry in public. But yeah, it's not only that it allowed you to get in touch with your own feelings, but it allowed you to appreciate someone else's story and their journey
Yeah.
much more in such an intimate and close space. And it really was, and I'm not going to say with the cliche awareness, but it literally opens up your eyes to the different journeys that people can experience and the different outlets that they can use that trauma for as well. Because again,
Yeah.
you had panelists, you had dancers, you had singers, you had poets, and again, with the whole creative industry, I find that linking an expression or a form of expression to release that trauma is definitely what is needed,
Yeah.
and what you're going to bring. So it's beautiful, beautiful amalgamation.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
all coming up.
Yeah, I'm hoping the restrictions work in our favor, or the lightening of the restrictions work in our favor, because that's the bit I like. Even when I posted the video yesterday, I was like, I miss this. I was like, I miss it.
Yeah. The connection, and yeah. Speaking about connecting, I know that you are going on a walk soon, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'll be
Your
connecting with nature,
connection.
and you know what the theme for mental health is this week.
Yes.
I'm literally, as soon as I get off the live, I'm gonna jump in my car, go down near my mum's and meet my friend who I saw on the live a minute ago, to go and have a walk. And like, I think the lockdown especially has made me appreciate like just walking, just going. Like the first lockdown, I did quite a bit of walking. That was like, I'd wake up in the morning, I'd go to the park and walk. I think the second lockdown, when it hit winter, it was a bit like, okay, we're not going to connect with nature this time. But
Not so much.
But yeah, sorry, my friend, she's still here. I can see her.
Good.
And so this time round, like now it's getting a bit warmer. Even when it's a little bit cold, I was still going out for walks, because it's like I'm working from home as well. So I always say, I think everyone hates when I say this, because I'm like, I hate working from home, but I don't want to go back to work. So like,
I can resonate, honestly.
Yeah. So when I'm in, sometimes it's like, okay, all right, I've got a meeting. Okay, no, I need to go outside and have a walk, because I need to separate myself from inside, because it definitely has like an impact on your mental health. And it's not to throw it around, but it's like the emotions that I feel like we felt during this time is crazy. And I think even from setting up Beautiful Trauma has made me more aware of my own like kind of mental health. Definitely. So I'm able to say, okay, I'm not the journaler. So even when I said to one of my friends, like when I gave her tips to do, I was like, yeah, journal. I was like, I can't, but journal. And she found comfort in that, and she was able to do that. But it's just finding, and it's that whole self-care thing. It's just finding what's comfortable for you, what works for you. Sometimes like you can think of self-care and you can think of a bubble bath, and you can think of those things, but sometimes it is deeper than that. It is switching off. It's saying no. It's protecting your peace. There's so many things. Pardon?
It's also self-care, I'd say, is also saying yes as well as saying no. Because we would limit ourselves to the beautiful things of the world just because we don't feel that we deserve them.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah, I would say self-care. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I'm saying it's definitely being mindful of that. I think that's like so important. And I think this journey has had its ups and downs, because I'm always the person, like I've had like these motivational pages. Like years ago, I used to post things and I'd be like, oh my God, but I'm not living my life like this motivational page. I should delete it. And I'm just like, no, like it's all a journey. So sometimes it's like giving yourself time, because sometimes I fall off on the page and I won't post. And I'm like, oh my God, what are people going to think? And then there was a point where I was like, okay, what are people going to think? But how are you feeling right now? So sometimes I have to step back and take the time and post when I can. It's all good for it to look cute and on point and scheduled, but if it's going to mean that I'm going to suffer in the long run, I have to think about that too.
Yeah, it's true. It's
So
very true.
I'm getting
Oh,
better at that. And then
gosh, you
some of
give
my
me some
friends kind of give me that
amazing.
kick to be like, just leave it, don't worry. And I'm like, but I've got to. I'm like, no. I'm like, okay.
Your page actually gives me a lot of inspiration as well. I'll be honest, because yeah, when I did connect with you, I saw all the wealth of information that you had on there, all the tips, all the tricks, all the strategies, and I was like, oh my God, I do that, I do that, I do that, and I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
on a
I'm on the
good,
right. Yeah.
yeah, I'm on the right
It's
path.
like, it gets like that.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so I know you've got to go for your walk soon, and I'm gonna try and round this up. But before you do go, can you give the viewers? I know you've given quite a few tips already, but particularly in reference to supporting a friend or family member that's going through a mental health issue, breakdown, or even illness. Is there anything that you can advise and suggest for those people?
I think I would say like just talk to someone. Like there's so much beauty in like communicating with someone because like it's like I think I said earlier, it's like you say, oh, how are you? I'm
Mm,
alright. Sometimes if you leave it there, you could just say, if you feel that something's wrong with the person or something's up with the person, you can literally just say, like, are you sure? And then
mm,
chances are, in that second, you sure? You sure? Like, that person will just, like, it will
yeah.
come out. Something will come out, something will give, or maybe like, I haven't been too good lately, or like
Mhm.
something. It's not, and I'm not saying that you talking can necessarily cure the problem, but
Mm,
that person may have been just holding that in for so long and not being able to speak on it, that
mm,
you giving them that opportunity is, again, is the deal breaker. Is you could have saved that person's life because you don't know what they're thinking, and it doesn't have to be always that sort of drastic thought, but
mm,
letting someone know that you're there for them to talk to. You can talk to them like something's up, or on another occasion they might actually come to you straight away and say like, this is the problem, because they
yeah,
know that you actually care. Because
yeah,
how are you is it's such a basic word. It's just like, you know,
yeah,
like two people walking down the road, hi, you know each other, but you're like, hi, how are you right, yeah, all right then, yeah, all right, see you later,
yeah,
bye. But it's not that no one cares, but
yeah,
I'm going to my destination, you're
yeah,
going to that destination, so I could have even missed you saying I'm not okay, but I'm like, all right then, great, bye.
mm,
It's
mm,
so easy to get lost in that line. So if you kind of double check, if you think something's wrong, I'm not saying every person you say how are you to, you say it twice,
yeah,
but it's just, if you feel something's up, just maybe press it, or just let them know that they can talk to you, or whatever it might be, because that might give that person comfort.
yeah.
um I
I think
think,
it's important to hold space for people, definitely, because
yeah,
so many times you can feel afraid to even ask someone, are you okay? And you might even just ignore it. You can see that person's even, going through a breakdown, and you may just be like, okay, they'll sort themselves out. They're strong
yeah,
enough. And not actually ask those questions. And even if it is just those simple words, are you okay? Like you said, that verbal diarrhea can kind of
yeah, it will just splurt out. And
ignite.
my
Mm,
one thing is, I always say like, check on the strong friend as well, because sometimes they're
absolutely.
carrying so much as
Hmm.
well. And that's not to say to dismiss anyone else, but everyone has their vulnerable weak moments. Everyone has the times where, yeah, they're vulnerable. So
Mm,
in just seeing how they are, is, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't cost anything, it doesn't, you know.
yeah. Yes, I try and do a rotation of my friends. I'm like, okay, I've spoken to you, I've spoken to you. Let me check on you. I've
Yeah,
not
like
heard from
you've been
you for a little
quiet.
while. Exactly. I've not heard from you for a little while. Let me check on you. Oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah, and
Are
even
you sure?
even sometimes it's just an exchange of like messages. So it could be like, you might not phone them, you could send them a funny meme,
Voice
a
note.
funny something, a funny, just to spark conversation and say like, oh, I'm still here. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Mhm.
like blanking out that person. But yeah, I always advocate for that as well.
Yes, there's so much
That's
healing in
important.
communication. So much healing. Oh, well, it's been lovely, Marissa. Thank you so much
My
for
first live.
yes. I think we should post up some balloons or something and a congratulations in your first live. But yes, you've been a pleasure. And yeah, just some amazing gems. Thank you. And keep us posted
Will
with
do.
any events and things, and just let everyone know where they can find you. Something you didn't mention actually is your boxes.
Oh, so we have a range. Yes, we do. We've got a range of self-care boxes as well. So it's we are going to be relaunching it as well because I want to change it up a bit because that's the perfectionist in me. So changing it up in the sense that so you have boxes that encourage sleep, encourage to relax, encourage well-being, encourage like all different things, like almost like a pamper box, but just something. Everything's in the box, from your teas to your bubble baths to your foot mask to your eye mask, like everything. We've also got, I'm going to do a cheesy plug because I have got this nearby. We've got
away.
I said I don't journal, and I honestly I don't, and I mean journal where you write like about your whole day and stuff like that. I can't do that. But over the lockdown I created like a self-care journal, so it's got like different like affirmations, different things to do, like write a letter to your younger self, daily
Hold it up a bit more.
gratitude.
Hold it
Oh,
up a bit
sorry,
more.
daily
Yeah, there we
gratitude
go.
thing. I think there's like journal prompts, which I said I'm going to do, but I haven't done yet. So just like journal prompts to try and start me to get into journaling. So it's like an introduction into journaling, which I too want to get into. So yeah, so we got like things like that out. But it's just, like I say, it's just encouraging the whole self-care. It's the whole take care of yourself. Like life is, I think, is so precious, and you can be here today and you cannot be here tomorrow. Like I'm sure a lot of people suffer like a lot of loss during this period. And it's just about sometimes finding time for yourself within whatever's happening. Like, and I always say, like, to my friends who've lost like family members or whatever it might be, like, give yourself time. Like, switch off your phone if you need to switch off your phone. Like, you have to process it yourself, and sometimes you can't take on the world whilst you're doing that. So yeah, I'm big on self-care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love,
But
I love
yeah,
it. I love it. I'll be getting a journal of yours because I would say I'm a big journaler, but I've probably lost count of how many journals I've got, so I need structure.
yeah,
I need
bring it in.
structure.
Yeah,
So yes, I love it. And I would say take a leaf out of your book and start journaling. Honestly, I've
yeah,
been
I do
journaling
want to
since
try.
I
I definitely want to try.
yes, and you put the prompts in there, so
Yeah,
use one of
just
them.
pick one
Even if,
and then go
yeah,
with it.
even if you carve out 15 minutes of your day, 15 minutes out of a whole 24 hours in your day,
Yeah,
just write that one prompt out to the
yeah.
fullest that you can. And you'll realize that you'll be writing for longer than 15 minutes. I guarantee you.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep you posted. I'm definitely
Yes.
gonna try. Yeah.
All right, lovely. Thank you. I've kept you
Thank
long
you for
enough.
having me.
Yes, thank you for joining. And everyone's join me back tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Again, I'm not going to tell you who's there. You're just going to have to wait and see. Okay?
I look forward
Marissa,
to that.
have a lovely walk. I'm going to go for mine as well soon.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I
I
will.
might go
All
get
right.
myself an ice cream.
Oh, oh. All right.
All right
All right.
then. Take care.
Take care, lovely. Bye.
Bye.